All right, guys, welcome back. I do have our state treasurer of Pennsylvania, Stacey Garrity, with me. How are you doing today?
Tiffany, I'm fantastic, and I'm so happy to be with you tonight.
Well, we are here at the Pennsylvania Leadership Conference. You are one of the keynote speakers today. I do want to touch on the fraud, waste, and abuse that you mentioned earlier. You recovered $1.7 billion in fraud, waste, and abuse. How are you recovering that type of money?
Right, so I like to say that Pennsylvania is doing Doge before Doge was cool. So because my office makes every payment in the Commonwealth, over 70 agencies, and by the way, that's too many agencies if you ask me, we look at every single payment to make sure it's legal and correct. And so just this past fiscal year alone, we stopped $1.7 billion in improper payments going out the door. And then when we check year-to-date this fiscal year, we're on track to do the same.
Wow. All right. And then also I do want to touch on tariffs. Now, President Trump has been really busy. People are scared because they feel that the prices, consumer prices are going to rise. How do you feel about that? Do you think that it's going to greatly affect our country?
So Tiffany, I think it's a lot of drama on the left and some on the right about the tariffs, and I get that, but I think it is a very short-term pain, but with a very long-term gain. All President Trump is trying to do is saying, you know what, treat us like we treat you, full stop. And you know what? I come from the manufacturing industry. I spent 3 decades there. And you know what? We had to shut down an entire business unit, 225 jobs. And guess where they went? They went to China. And so what this is going to do is bring jobs to America, to the United States, to Pennsylvania. And it's going to be fantastic.
And then lastly, I do want to touch on these federal judges that have been recently trying to pause and put a block on President Trump's agenda. Do you think anything, specific needs to be done? Because it really seems that they are abusing the system. So how do you feel about that?
Oh my gosh. So we need judges that rule on the law as written, not rule on the law as they think it should be. And so they're really trying to slow down his progress. I mean, give me a break that we want to keep criminals in the United States that should have been deported a long time ago. I mean, it's unconscionable.
Yeah. All right, guys, and what Congressman Dan Muser, you are considering running for governor. Could you tell us your plans on that, and why do you think the people should make a different decision this time around?
Well, I love Pennsylvania. I think Pennsylvania has been underserved for at least the last 10 years. I see states like Indiana and Utah and Georgia, Florida, Texas, of course, that we have far more advantages here in Pennsylvania, our geographic location, our people, our resources, our energy, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, everything in between, our agriculture, our mining. So I really view Pennsylvania as completely underperforming, and I know if we have a governor, like if Ron DeSantis, for instance, had been our governor for the last 6 years, we'd be up here as opposed to here. If Greg Abbott was our governor, and Kemp, there are others that are delivering on making sure we have a competitive, the most competitive economy. Let's not even shoot for number 3 or number 4. Let's be number 1 of where businesses can grow. Our agencies are awful. To this day, people joke, but it's not a joke. DEP stands for Don't Expect Permits. In Pennsylvania, it's outrageous. They work against business. They're not even neutral. So none of this is being changed. So there's not and we basically push away companies as opposed to welcoming them with our permit requirements. It's a very difficult place to allow flourishment that we deserve. And I'll go further, our education. We're misspending a lot of money. I don't even like our infrastructure. We have all kinds of money coming in for infrastructure. Why aren't we so much better there? Our roads should be modernized. Schuylkill Expressway should be better. So there's a lot of things that we need to do, and I think they can be done with the right team, with the right administration.
And then lastly, I just want to ask, as far as the Department of Education being dismantled, what are your thoughts on that? Do you support Donald Trump's, trying to discontinue that?
I'm for what works, right? And right now, the Department of Education and our education system as a whole is not working, and results show it. Right here I am saying Pennsylvania is number 39. There are reports that say United States of America is like number 34 or something out of developed countries. So it's not working. So we need to correct things. We need to absolutely return things to states. We got to have school choice. We got to have accountability in our schools. It can't be about the faculty. It's got to be about the students. We're just doing things. We're doing things by people who really don't care so much about results, and that needs to change. And President Trump and Linda McMahon, J.D. Vance, what we're doing on the federal level, there's not going to be less dollars spent, but there's going to be less people doing nothing and wasting taxpayer dollars, and that money's going to go to the states.
Next up, guys, I have Rich, who is from Conshohocken, PA. Now, you are here at the Pennsylvania Leadership Conference. Let us know, how did you feel about the conference today? Was it overwhelming? Did you feel empowered? How did you feel about it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like empowered, inspired, I would say. Again, we have some really very interesting people, very accomplished people who are experienced in what they're talking about. And I was just really glad to be here, and just happy that Americans for Prosperity sponsored me again to come to the event this year.
Okay, well, Rich, tell us, so far, there's been a lot of talk about tariffs. How do you personally feel? Do you feel that's going to hurt the economy? Do you think it'll help make the economy stronger and just build our country up overall?
Yeah, that's a really great question, and I've been thinking about that a lot. And I have to admit, I don't know as much about them as I wish I did to give you like a really informed answer. All I can say is that I am concerned about fair trade, not just free trade, but you have to have fair trade, right, between countries. So I am concerned about that. If certain countries like Canada or China are tariffing our products going into there just because they're protectionist and they're trying to protect their own economy, those particular sectors, then yeah, I think leveling tariffs on their products coming into our country to level things out is justified. So in that respect, what the president is doing, I would agree with. But for the countries that you start hearing about, like leveling like a 50% tariff now on China and 75%, and obviously the markets don't like it. They've been in turmoil for the last 2 weeks. So it's hard to know with Trump because he's don't know what his long-term end goal game is because he's so unpredictable. I'm not even sure he's really completely thought all that out, to tell you the truth. Okay. So for me, personally, I'm in favor of them if it's restoring fair trade. But as far as just doing it to raise a lot of money, punishing other countries, unless you have a really sound objective, like a really clear objective you're trying to accomplish with the tariffs, it could wind up really biting you in the butt. It could really come back and really hurt you. So I just hope he knows what he's doing.
Let's hope so, right? Okay, well, he has a strong team, so we'll see. But lastly, how do you feel about the diversity that Trump has been really pushing toward in the Republican Party? Because you're seeing so many different nationalities, different races, coming together and really supporting each other in the Republican Party now. How do you feel about that?
I think it's long overdue, and I'm all for it. I think this organization, they can maybe do more to reach out to other communities that maybe have not participated, letting them know, recruiting people, letting them know that this event is happening. That's what I like to see, especially in places like Philadelphia, the inner city.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Rich.
Thank you, my dear. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, guys. I have Angelina here from Montgomery County. Angelina, thank you so much for joining me. So let us know, first off, how did you feel about the conference today? And also, I want to ask you a few personal questions as well. As far as everything that's been going on lately, there's so much as far as with the Doge going on and tariffs. And I want to ask you, as a mom, because I know that you are, how do you feel, number one, about the tariffs?
Well, I think anytime where you have a big change like that, it is going to be scary. But look at who's scared. It's the elites. It's the Wall Street gurus. It's the people who have been controlling, in a not good way, our markets that are supposed to be free. So I think you have to let it shake out. I think President Trump is a very smart man, and we have to trust him. We elected him because we trust him, and we need to continue to have that trust.
Also, I do want to touch on, how do you feel about these different departments being shut down, people losing their jobs? How do you feel about that personally?
Anytime you're going to have a great reform, there is going to be some loss, but it's necessary. The administrative state, as we've all seen, has been bloated and it's been oversized. This is exactly what the American public voted for Donald J. Trump for, was to get rid of all of this administrative bloat. So while there are going to be some casualties, it is quite necessary, and I'm sure those people with their amazing skill sets will land on their feet.
Okay, and since you are here at the Pennsylvania Leadership Conference, how did you feel about the keynote speakers today?
Overall, this entire experience today has been amazing. This Pennsylvania Leadership Conference has been going on for many years. However, it's my first year, and what a great resource to anybody who wants to become more informed about the issues, specifically in our state.
I do want to touch on one more thing that you mentioned earlier about the American flag. Now, being as though you're from Montgomery County, you mentioned that people in your area have gotten offended by seeing the American flag. Could you elaborate on that?
So I live right outside of Philadelphia in Montgomery County, and it is an anomaly to see an American flag flying proudly. I have an American flag outside of my house, and we have had signs stolen from our yard. We had our cars stolen, and we've had other, various incidents happen. I'm a member of Springfield Township Republican Committee, and Community Day, we had little stickers and tattoos of American flags, and we had middle school students come up and go, "Ooh, who likes America anyway?" And that was really telling to me. That was really telling of what our schools, our public school system, is sharing with our children, and the feelings they're instilling about our country. That flag, every time I see it, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel safe. I have a lot of strong emotion, positive emotion attached to it. So to hear children who have no respect or admiration for it is quite unsettling.